Hey folks, welcome to today's live stream. Thanks for tuning in. Let's load up this recording and talk about Bitcoin. So if you happen to watch yesterday's live stream, we did define a bearish pivot, or rather the trend defining pivot for the downward trend. Yesterday we talked about how this line right here, which you were able to draw yourself, right? Just the 1.25 standard deviation of what is currently the 160 period would act as the defining pivot for trend. And lo and behold, we rejected perfectly from that value, like exactly, in 3 separate candles. That's really clean. And how did we come up with this prediction? Well, it's because it's a trend-defining pivot. Whenever you get significant trend, like we've seen here, right, we tend to reject exactly from the pivot if we are to expect trend continuation. And if we ever go inside the pivot, trend ends and price enters a longer period of compression. This is very consistent, right? Most notably recently was this section of price action over here, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests for the trend defining pivot before we finally break inside the pivot. And then what do we get? Compression and mean reversion. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means we are currently still defined in trend. Okay, so if you are currently short, you can quite reliably place a stop loss around 9,630, and that's pretty generous. If you want to have it even tighter, you could just have it right on the other side of that pivot there. Just do be aware that wicks do happen, and be prepared to have a stop loss timeout is one option you can use to protect your position. However, stop loss timeouts can be rather risky, as we have seen completed mean reversions occur in a single candle, where price action just immediately jumps up to the mean in a single move. So I really only recommend using a stop loss timeout if you're unlevered on a smaller position. Otherwise, if you stop out, just be prepared to re-enter on the swing low, or I'm sorry, the swing high, which can be measured by a 14-period CCI, right? Because quad CCI does work during periods of extreme trend. If we have significant weighting to the downside for our longer periods, the 14-period roll down is going to be a very good entry into that trend direction. And lo and behold, that has held. So if we do run up and test 9,580, I will be taking a small short position. Looks like we are having some slight bullish movement on this particular hourly candle. Not that it's going to particularly matter that much farther down the line. All I care about is this pivot. We are below long-term support, which means a downward trend in the short term with a long-term broken support does lead up a very good recipe for short positions. As such, I am going to take the short on the next roll down or on the next retest of this pivot. If we do break inside, I will cancel out any bearish bias I might have and switch it to a neutral mean reversion compressing bias, which pretty much just means lateral trading short-term upward moves and then trying to use swing lows to get entry into lateral trading, which again is another easily tradable and beneficial market condition. So really, when we have this clear of market conditions occurring, where we just have really clear cycles of expansion and compression, that's awesome. There's no reason to be a hard set bull or bear. Just take each cycle as it comes. Since we're currently in our bearish cycle, stay bearish, right? Bet on trend continuation. And the best part is, if you're wrong and price goes up, well, you have like a 1.5% stop loss right now, right? Trend right now is really well defined, and as such, you should have no problems stopping out of this if it doesn't go your way, right? Because your upside is quite large, the downside is quite scary. There's a lot of fear and panic happening right now. However, upward movements going to be very easy to take you out of the position. So, really not all that much cause for concern at the moment. Other than that, that's it. That's all I want to say about Bitcoin. All right, let me just check the comments real quick. I doubt there's anything. Link, sure thing. I'll check out Link for you. So let's load up a Link BTC. Nice, we have another active downtrend on this chart as well. No clear over expansions as it is quite sustained. 4 hour might paint a different story. Nope. Yeah, that's just slow active downtrend. I really don't feel like betting against this, right? We could probably define a pitchfork channel if we wanted. Swing high, swing low, swing high. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a shift pitchfork. Oh, it is shift already. Inside. Yep, there it is. Perfect. Oh, shoot. That's pretty nice then, isn't it? Yeah, shift pitchfork actually plays that really well. That's appealing. God damn it. Yeah, you could try a long. I guess you could long here. You could have 4% stop loss. Just try to go to the meetup there, so 13% upside. It's not bad. Or you could set up a trailing stop it there and hope for the swing high of 20%. Yeah, that's a 4-to-1 profit ratio. Stop out on the lower low, and it's good. You know, it's just channel trading. You have a clear, defined channel. There was one brief failure over here. Maybe that's a risk you can take. You know, 4-to-1 profit ratio. It's good. I'm actually okay with this chart. You know, not a lot of volatility theory that really supports this. It's a downtrend, but it appears to be the swing low in a downtrend. So, what the hell? You can try it. Just don't risk too much on this. Since this isn't my go-to strategy, it does introduce some additional risk than what I would typically bet on myself. Okay? Let me check the comments again. Nothing new. All right, well, it has been a pleasure. I'll talk to you folks tomorrow at 1 p.m. MST. I hope you all have a beautiful day.